and the green around me. For in the new life I shall rise up with God's grace and blessing to lead the millions of the heights and the forest that you will know. Look for me in a world and I will come. Look for me all around you. For with God's grace I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and right. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave. They gave leadership to our foreparents and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own to make ourselves free men. Our great scholars have advanced through the colleges, the universities, have thrown away the black record. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. England under America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. If you cannot do it, if you are not prepared to do it, then you will die. You race of cowards, you race of imbeciles, you race of good for nothing. If you cannot do what other men have done, what other nations have done, what other races have done, then you have to die. Can we do it? We can do it. We shall do it. We pray to God for vision and for leadership. And He has given us our universal vision. A vision that will not limit our possibilities to America. A vision that will not limit our possibilities to the West Indies. But a vision that said there must be a free and redeemed Africa. Christ the crucified, Christ the despised. We appeal to you for help, for succor, for leadership. When you endeavor to carry your burden of the heights of Calvary, when white men scorn you, when white men scorn you, when white men spot upon you, when white men pierce your side out of which blood and water got forth, it was a black man in the name of Simon the Syrian who took your cross and bore it up the heights of Calvary. And now that we are bearing our burden of being so heavy, we just ask that you just help us on up the heights. Oh, yes, the cause is grand, the cause is true. Surely we shall not turn back. Oh, sail on, sail on, sail on, almighty shepherd, sail on until the flag of the red, the black, and the green is perched upon the hilltops of Africa. Because the time must come for the black man to forget his hero worship of other races and to create and emulate heroes of his own. We must canonize our own saints, create our own martyrs, and elevate the positions of fame and honor black men and women who have made a distinct contribution to our racial history. Sojourner Truth is worthy of a place of sainthood alongside the Joan of Arc. Crispus Attucks and George William Garden are entitled to the halo of martyrdom with no less glory than the martyrs of any other race. Toussaint Louverture's brilliancy as a soldier or a statesman outshone that of any other people, hence he's entitled to the highest place as a hero among men. Because Africa created millions and countless millions of black men and women in war and peace, whose luster and bravery outshone that of any other people. So why not see good and perfection in ourselves? We must inspire our literature and promulgate the doctrine of our own without any apologies to the powers that be. That's why this hour on God. Let sentiments and cross opinions go to the winds. We are entitled to our own opinions and are not obligated to or bound by the opinions of others. If others laugh at you, return the laughter to them. If they mimic you, return the compliment with equal force. Because they have no more right to dishonor, discredit you in manhood than you have in dealing with them. Honor them when they honor you. Disrespect and disregard them when they vilely treat you. Their arrogance is but skin deep, an assumption that has no foundation in morals or in law. They have sprung from the same family tree of obscurity as we have. Their history is as rude in its primitiveness as ours. Their ancestors were running wild in living in trees of branches like monkeys as ours. They made human sacrifices, ate the flesh of their own dead and wild meat from beasts for centuries, even as they have accused us of doing. Their cannibalism is more prolonged than ours. When we were embracing the banks of the Nile They were still drinking blood out of the skulls of their conquered dead. After our civilization had reached the noonday of progress, they were still living in holes with bats, rats, and other insects and animals. After we had already unfathomed the mystery of the stars and reduced the heavenly constellation to minute and regular calculus, there were still backwoodsmen living in ignorance and in blatant darkness.
Yeah, we give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. Negus saves. Royal family, give thanks for your presence with us. Another edition of the Tiger's Nest. For Haile Selassie the First exalted. Of course, your humble servant, Honorable Priest Isaac, here with you. Once again, the zone is here. The Tiger's Nest meditation, inspiration, vibration. Often imitated, never duplicated. Give thanks for your presence.
And the green around me, for in a new life I shall rise up with more strength and blessings to lead the millions of the heights and the torrents that you well know. Look for me in a world and a storm. Look for me all around you, for a dark place. I shall come back to countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life.
And of course, it's a great joy to deliver to you another edition of the Tiger's Nest. It's going to be a wonderful program. Again, give thanks for your presence with us. And for those of you who are not subscribers to this nightly program, of course, it's a very simple thing to do. Just email me, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. That's priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. And of course, we will let you know what you need to do to become a subscriber, to become a part of the subscription team of this program, and you get the program every evening, so even if it's not on the YouTube or you're not getting clips on Instagram and you're wondering what's going on with the program comes out every evening. So give thanks to those who are subscribers to the Tiger's Nest radio program specifically. And of course, we have so many different levels of avenues, I should say, to get the information out. Let me just remind everyone at this moment that the next edition of the Ambassador's Pen is right at your doors. So prepare yourself for another edition again of the Ambassador's Pen. That is our monthly magazine. Really, it's a journal which has morphed into a magazine, the Ambassador's Pen. And of course, the current edition of the Ambassador's Pen is the Revolutionary edition. Hey, listen, between me and you, all of the editions are revolutionary editions. But of course, we were highlighting the progress of Ibrahim Chori. Yes, and by now everyone should know what's going on, and I think his progress would have gone leaps and bounds since we would have done that magazine. But at least give thanks, and remember, we have some beautiful features and some beautiful highlights within the very said edition. Of course, highlighting Namibia, Thomas Sankara, and of course, some great works that are taking place internationally. We did a beautiful article. Honorable Empress Naya did a beautiful article highlighting the renovation of the Taitu space, now creating the Taitu Cultural Educational Center, and it was inaugurated a month or so ago. And of course, we were on top of that. And since I mentioned that, as this is also a part of the fundraising campaign, everything we do right now, family, is a part of the fundraising campaign for our mission to Ethiopia. So I got to remind you, for those of you who have not received your copy of the proposal of the mission to Ethiopia, the revised proposal, you could definitely contact us via the email Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com. So you can take your time and listen. Right now the time is going away very quickly. In fact, let me be clear here. Those of you, let me be clear here. I hope you're listening to me. Please listen. Please listen. This is very important. Those of you who are adamant that you're going to be with us, you're joining us in Ethiopia for the Addis Ababa tour, the AU CARICOM Summit, and even those of you who are very ambitious and intend to join us for the national 7-day, 9-day tour, well, you got to contact us now. No, you got to reserve now. As you could see, the time is at hand. You can't wait until the train is moving to say, well, I'd like to buy a ticket. So those of you who are serious, especially if you're coming with the family, if you're coming with a group, as the Honorable Empress Naya would have showed you a few evenings ago, that is even more, economical for you when you come in a group, and of course everything is already set, professionally done, and you'll be entertained in a high level of luxury too, as she would have put that to you. So it's something to look forward to. That's my point. So those of you who will be adding to the mission by coming with us to Ethiopia. Well, not necessarily coming, but you will join us there. Let me be clear and be a part of that, because our mission is a much larger mission than just the AU summit. Of course, as you know, we are on a fact-finding mission. We are on a restoration mission. We are on a highly diplomatic mission. And at the same time, we are on a business mission as well. So there's several things wrapped up in our mission. That's why we have several people involved and concerned and stakeholding this mission as well, as it relates to their concerns. Very deep, my family. That is why your brother encourages you to email me, get a copy of the proposal, go through it, the mission overview, the plans that we have, the institute team that is needed to make sure this mission goes forward. Even a little understanding of the history is good for you, because this is a process I've been going through. I highlighted in the earlier videos that I am a citizen of a specific government and a member still and a priest of another government. I highlighted these things, of course, and it is very important for you to comprehend that this is not financially supported even up to now, at this last hour, by any government as such. Only the few of you that would have started to contribute, of course, and those of you who would have decided to advertise with us in our magazine. I give thanks for those of you who decided to put your ad in the magazines, whether it's the Ambassador's Pen or the upcoming Kidemi. And as I told you, I am advising that you advertise in the upcoming Kidemi, because we will be highlighting that upcoming magazine more than any other when we make that mission to Ethiopia. And that is just clear. Again, and all of this is inside of the proposal. So this program here, as the other programs are, and since we will be doing a video of this program, I just want those who will be seeing this on social media to understand that this is a part of the fundraising agenda as it relates to the mission to Ethiopia. Beautiful. So again, family, you already know how to contact us. And I must say, for those of you, those of you who again, may just want to donate. We have made that extremely easy. You understand? Keep in mind before we go to the donating stuff, keep in mind, inside of the magazine, the ambassador's pen, the previous edition, you also have some aspect of the proposal, not the full proposal now, especially for those who want to visit Ethiopia with us, you need to get the proposal. But for those who at least just want to understand the mission, it's in the ambassador's pen. And of course, the ambassador's pen is always in the description below any video. So the video that you may be watching, the link for the ambassador's pen is below the video. You press it, and within it, you will find the overview for the mission. Huh? Okay, good. And as I said before, the reason why this is important to us is so that you can feel the heart, so that you could understand the heart space. You know, to me, life ain't about talking and trying to look pretty and having a good time. This is the mission of the Black Christ, freedom, redemption, international repatriation. We're not saying we have it all. Even if I have one piece of the puzzle, at least I have a piece. You understand? And then maybe someone else has another piece. And don't get me wrong, my life has been trying to work with the rest pieces of the puzzle, even reaching out to you. You're a piece of the puzzle too. That's why we are asking you to take a package. I assume my people that are listening to me have businesses. I mean, yeah, because that's what life, that's escaping slavery. You got to, be business minded, like to be, you know, to advertise, to join us on the mission, or even just to donate. So the information is also there in the ambassador's pen. You go below the video and you see all the other magazines. Just press it and it takes you straight to it. Now, before we even get into the subject area for this evening, because I actually wanted to speak about the whole concept of Ethiopia being Kush. And I'm going to tell you why, because I always get that from a few people, and I must say I have an elder that every time I make an appearance and he is close by, he always chides me on that. He said, "Priest, I like your teachings, but you gotta stop saying Ethiopia." All right. You don't want me to say Abyssinia neither, because Abyssinia is Arabic, and it is they that call us Habasha, and a mixture of a people. So we need to call it Kush, because the original name is Kush. And very good. Now, the thing is, I never really wrestled that point down. In fact, I never argued that if someone was to say that Ethiopia was once called Kush, because there's deep understanding in it. But let me be clear. If we are going to be strictly official in the academical realms, technically, that is not so. I'm not saying the Ethiopians, to a large extent, are not Kushitic people. Don't get me wrong. But if we're looking at label, the area that we call Ethiopia today was not necessarily once called the Kingdom of Kush, as some of us just loosely say. And I will repeat, I comprehend why ones would say that. And I'm not dismissing the whole aspect of the Kushitic, pardon me, people occupying where we call Ethiopia today. But if you're going to be scientific in the history, in the academics, it is not necessarily so. And that is what I want to address tonight. And you will see, especially if you're serious about the knowledge, exactly where I am coming from. But before I go there, I want to highlight now for you. This is I think it was not today, but a day ago, technically. This is in Africa now, in Rwanda. So to say a day ago, the time span is different, or the time zone is different where I am here. But as we speak, they are currently having the State of Africa, the State of Africa conference in Rwanda, as it relates to the security of Africa. And a few leaders have met. Of course, there was a speech, the keynote address, really, the opening speech by the president of Rwanda itself, Juan Paul Kagame. And there was a panel discussion a bit earlier. And the chairperson or the moderator of the panel was Julie Gichuru, and she is the president and CEO of Africa Leadership and Dialogue Institute. And she was making some statements earlier that I would like the family to listen to as we are here in the Tiger's Nest.
Wait, hold. We will fly into Libya and when the attack happened in Libya and Gaddafi was being taken down, a number of African presidents said, wait, hold. We will fly into Libya and we can have some kind of diplomatic conversations. The feedback from external actors to them was, if you fly into Libyan airspace, we cannot guarantee your security. I want you to think about that for a minute, that heads of state of the African continent were told this on our continent. And ladies and gentlemen, what is Libya today? What is Libya today? And it happened on our watch. It happened on our watch. Ladies and gentlemen, Rwanda 1994. Dilly-dallying over the word genocide at the United Nations Security Council saw 1 million people dead in how many days? And who solved the problem? We had to solve the problem. His Excellency and a small force came back in and had to build this country from scratch, ladies and gentlemen. And today we still get lectures and hear lectures about human rights, and there's something wrong. I want to talk about South Africa today. In South Africa today, we are hearing narratives being built around white genocide in South Africa. You are security actors, you understand the import of these narratives and why are they being placed in the international scene? Why is this happening? What could it open up? Gaza today, ladies and gentlemen, where we've seen the brutalization and the massacre of tens of thousands of children. The multilateral systems, I'm going to come to each of you and ask, are they working? Can they hold? And if they cannot hold, and Africa has never been given an adequate seat at the table. Martin, you can talk about that. Perhaps I'm wrong. You can correct me. But where does Africa stand? 50, are we 54? 54 nations? A strong continent, resource-rich, fastest-growing continent in the world. Where do we deserve to sit? Your Excellency, let me come to you on this. Multilateral systems and how do we maneuver this very serious reality, please?
Well, what I would say, again, that is Sister Julie Gichuru, that's the president of the C and CEO of African Leadership and Dialogue, and speaking at the ISAC conference there on security. And if you notice, she said that to the audience that you are all security players. You understand the importance of this narrative that has been thrown out there. She asked the question, why is it in the media? What you talking about? About murdering white farmers in South Africa. She's wise. She's trying to show you, as we know, that before they attack, before they find some reason to say, well, this is not good, they begin to create a narrative. It's called propaganda. Messiah Garvey spoke to us about that. It's called playing the game of tearing you down in the eyes of the people. So then you are discredited. They do that, before they assassinate, before they overthrow, before they sweep you under the rug. They play the game on the mind of the people that you are not upstanding. You are not living up to the oath that you made. You understand? You are committing genocide. You're a tyrant. You're a despot. You've been there too long. Are you sure he's the one that is really supposed to be in charge? I think he really rigged the election. They do everything. So then when they move you out of the way, well, we needed a breath of fresh air anyway. And that's it. You understand? And they're known for that. So she highlighted that years ago when they took out Colonel Gaddafi, the African leaders said, hey, hold on now, Mr. President. We're going to go and talk to him. Don't worry, just give us a few days. And Mr. President said, if you go into Libya, I cannot, I cannot vouch for you. You may come out in a box. This wasn't Donald Trump, that said this. This wasn't none of the Bushes. This was not even Mr. Clinton. It may have been Mrs. Clinton, but it was Barack Obama that was in charge in those days. And you see, although we're expressing this, I want to be clear. We as Rastafari, and I am circling out Rastafari, those of us who are Rastafari and are progressive in our thought and thinking, we cannot be right now on the train or in the lobby of lamenting what went wrong. That's why I do not really do those sort of programs and have no long debate about all the things that are going wrong. Because before people realized these things, we as Rastafari has been telling the world, Babylon is going to fall. Nobody was listening to us, and now it's falling. It's a big conversation, so we're supposed to sit and listen to that. It's time for us to move on. We're supposed to be steps ahead. Peter Tosh already sung the song for you, The Day the Dollar Died. I mean, it's almost time to read the last rites for the dollar there. This is what I'm saying. So it is important, even those of us as Rastafari, and yes, even conscious ones. But you see, as Rastafari, we have been definitely leading the charge in many ways. Everyone knows that we were the ones that led the charge when it came to the health of our people. We were the ones that led the charge when it comes to the whole aspect of nature. Look, previous night we did a program about the WhatsApp and the Instagram, for those of you who are part of the Tiger's Nest. And what were we talking about? The phones. Remember the journalist was telling the fella there from the news agency, pardon me, that they used WhatsApp to detect the position of every general that they killed. When the Israelis attacked the Iranian scientists, nuclear scientists and generals, it was WhatsApp. This was relayed on the Democracy Now! Program about 2 days ago. You can go and check it out. The journalist said that. The journalist says when he's done this gig, he's going to delete his WhatsApp, and he's done with that. And as I said, it's more than WhatsApp. Don't try to jump from WhatsApp and think you're going to Facebook. It ain't going to work. You still got a phone in your hand. It ain't going to work. it can explode at any time. It ain't gonna work. The same is not real showed you that the Israeli government. Hmm? We saw it on television, fellas shopping in the supermarket and trying to call home to their wife to see if they need any onions. Boom, phone blow up in the face. Hmm? Not because the battery is not good enough, but somebody said, press the button. There he is. The point I'm making is that Rastafari is nature. So Rastafari bonfire on these things. You know that. Yeah, whether they have on diodes or they carbon friendly or any of that kind of jazz. Rastafari bun fridge, bun stove, even some bun shoes, fire, you know. And he's mad, he's burning fire on shoes, but now the in thing is grounding and earthing. What are you talking about? So Rastafari is visionary. That's my point, eh? Rastafari was telling you about the eagle and the dragon and the bear. How long? So I'm just saying to Rastafari, this is why you hear us speaking about the mission to Ethiopia. Again, I wish you would read the proposal like a book. Within it, you get an understanding. Okay, this is all about. This is about, and listen, the whole energy of CARICOM and the AU together really brings to life the mission. This is why it's so timely, because this is about bridging the family that has been separated through colonialism, imperialism, and slavery. Oh, give thanks. So as I was saying, you see, and I want to be clear here when it comes to the whole concept of Kush and Ethiopia. Now, this is why this is what I want to somewhat put to rest. I may not put it to rest, but I just want to bring a level of intelligence to the conversation. And I think this is very important because at times, I find that in our conversation um, and our dialoguing with each other, sometimes we tend to just, I don't know if it's talk off the head or whatever. We don't take time to sit and meditate sometimes, even what we're saying. And we got to go beyond that right now. Personally, I mean, this is not the age of just talking and chatting. And if you have to talk, we got to come with clear, precise reasoning and intelligence. I'm not saying a person cannot make a mistake in a fact or two. You understand? But to be just going off the edge, saying things because you heard somebody else say so. Like people still flipping and, oh, no, 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 Jesus didn't exist because there was no J. Okay, I agree, no Jesus exists, but not because there was no J in the Hebrew alphabet. What you talking about? So what you gonna tell me? Jesus didn't exist then. Ancient Jesse, because there was no J. What about John Hoy? Eh? Well, there was no J. Where was there no J? So who invented J? Where did that come from? John Hoy is Amharic, by the way, eh? Not Hebrew. Let me tell you that. And there is a J. So and Ja'amun and all of these words from the Ashanti kingdom. So I don't know where your J came from in the 1600s, but I know for sure we have been utilizing J long before the 1600s, and this is what I'm talking about, family. We got to be a bit more scholarly and just everything someone says and we follow it and say, take your time. Now, the concept of the kingdom of Kush, this is what it is, family. The concept of the kingdom of Kush. Now, you see, Northeast Africa, interesting. And Ethiopia, as we know it today, the area, again, that was previously called Abyssinia. And yes, it is even our Negus, Haile Selassie, who would have enforced the term Ethiopia, the name Ethiopia, outside of Abyssinia. And again, there are those within the conscious realms, they don't like the name Abyssinia, Habasha, not even Al Kebelan, and they stress that like the Al and these things is very uh, Islamic. So let's go through some history here, family. The land we call Africa was once called Al Sudan, the land of the black, really. So even Sudan, these are terms that have a strong Arabic level connection to them. But Sudan, just like Ethiopia, was a term given to Africa. Ethiopia um, is another term that has a very unique history with Africa because Ethiopia was the land. It was the land of Ethiopia. I'm talking about Africa, the continent, was the land of Ethiopia. Listen to me. Arabia, all the way into India, was Ethiopia. India was referred to as Eastern Ethiopia. But then here now, hold on. Who called it this? You know, it was the Greeks that applied this terminology. Now you must understand, okay, fair enough, the people in the land may not have necessarily referred to themselves as Ethiopians, but there's a certain level of credibility that is given to the power or powers, of the day then. Let's put it that way. So, for example, and this may be a strange example to give you, but I just want you to understand this too, just to show you something. Now, people often tell me, which is a real enslaved thing to say. Anybody that says this, unless they're trying to express a point, but they're saying it, when I say a point, to make a good statement, not to defend some stupidness, they're really off. People will tell me, hey, well, brother, you got to remember slavery was once legal. Imagine that. I want you to get that. Imagine that. Somebody telling you slavery was once legal. Legal for who? Who are you talking about? So when the wicked, evil European was trying to catch the mother running with her little baby, what you trying to tell me? She's supposed to stand up and yield because she breaking the law. Because him trying to capture her, to send her to the ship, or maybe rape her in between and kill the youth and send her on board, you're trying to tell me that's illegal. That's in the Constitution or in the law or the Parliament passed, whatever it is, or the Pope blessed it, but that's legal. Yeah, yeah. That's like the lion trying to catch the zebra and telling the zebra, you better stand up because this is legal. Yeah, it's legal for you, but it's illegal for me to make you catch me. And I'm trying to show you in a specific world, even today, that's the argument that slavery was abolished. And even we celebrate that stuff, And yes, it was, well, we're glad it's abolished. Okay, give thanks. But okay, but who institutionalized it in the first place for it to be now abolished? Who said it was so? Yeah? And why them saying it so made it so? Because they had a certain amount of power, not necessarily authority, but they had a certain amount of power that they override authority and had the ancient people enslaved. So slavery became a reality that was so-called legal to the point that it had to become illegal and then abolished. Can you imagine that? So that's how the world runs. It's called power. So just to say that's the land of Ethiopia, a lot of people were listening to the Greeks. A lot of people got their news and their information from the Greeks. The Greeks were exporting a lot of culture at the time. It's just reality. There was a lot of trade. It was almost the center of trade for the world. The Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, even when these empires took over the other empire, it didn't take away all the power from the previous empire. It still had a say. You understand? It's like Britain is not the empire of yesteryear, but Britain still has its own little niche and say in the world today. So my point is that when the Greeks said that's the land of Ethiopia, to many parts of the world, even down to the university and the institutes of education and knowledge, that's the land of Ethiopia. So it became known as the land of Ethiopia, straight up, you know. Some people will argue that it wasn't the Africans that are there that called the land Africa. It's like somebody else say, yeah, man, that's the land of Africa. And it's just something that's accepted today. So it's the same thing. At the time, it was the land of Ethiopia. I'm just giving you raw history, but I'm giving you in a way that I want you to get it well ingrained in the mind, so you can understand the value of knowing the nitty gritty of history and not just talking any old thing. You know what I mean? Africans sold Africans into slavery. Another thing that a real nigga would say. Well, it is what it is. Malcolm X said you got the house Negro and you have the field Negro. No, or I should say you have the field Negro and the house nigger. Straight up. So I'm saying now that Ethiopia as the land of Africa, Arabia, even India. That's at one time. And then at another time, Ethiopia was basically all of Northeast Africa you were talking about. So even when you talk about this great river that encompasses the whole land of Ethiopia, no, I would argue that is not just Sudan and it's not just necessarily even the highlands of Ethiopia as we know it. That's the whole track of the River Nile. That's when Ethiopia was all of Northeast Africa. Remember, Ethiopia was all of Africa, number one. And then there's a time when it's all of Northeast Africa and Arabia. But that is how it was seen by those who were looking in from the outside, even though they were visitors, but they were technically as a nation looking in from the outside. So, and looking in for several centuries. So that's why that area could now be seen as Ethiopians. As I said, when the Arabs had their own game to play in 1600, 700, not 16, 600, 700, 800 AD, they would call the place Al Sudan. You understand? Where Ethiopia is a more ancient terminology. Very good, very ancient. In fact, one would argue that it is a king seen in the king's list. Ethiops, an Ethiopian king, Ethiops, where the name came from. You get me good. Perfect. So it's important you get a good rich understanding, a good comprehension of at least the terminology um, Ethiopia and how it relates to Africa. All right, good. Now, how does Ethiopia relate to Kush? Now, what I would like to do, as I said, I would like to touch upon the whole aspect of Kush now. But before we get into Kush, because Kush, as I was saying earlier, is you have the Kushitic people, and then you have the Kushite kingdom. Follow me good. And then you have Kush, the landmass, Kush, the place. You get me? And it's important that you comprehend these things before we just get up and talk and try to sound as if we know it all and oh, you're wrong, you don't have to say it like that, and all of these different things. Now, I'm going to use this as an example. The the Isaac people, also known as the Isaac people, Ishak people in some cases, are people that are considered an ethnic group in Somalia. Now, you see, this ethnicity thing is extremely interesting because you must keep in mind ethnic groups did not just start to mix. It's not colonialism that had people mixing it. So, in other words, you have people that in West Africa that will tell you, yes, my mother is Yoruba, but my father is Igbo. But he's Igbo because his father is Igbo, but his mother is really Fanti, and my mother's father is Yoruba, but his wife, which is my grandmother, really she's of the Akan people. So you see, and that really happens. You see people in West Africa looking exactly like people in East Africa. You understand? So all the different tribes, that's why King Emmanuel speak about the one tribe, all the different tribes that we like to talk about. You think Israel have plenty tribes? When you really break down the African tribes, it's almost like we're gone into the thousands of tribes. So much tribes? All right. Now, you see, you got to understand in many cases, a tribe could be symbolic of a village, not necessarily this fresh creation and this group of people that is just so different than this other group of people. It's impossible. And we look alike. So the people in Somalia, now those of you who, like myself, who have somewhat of a novice kind of outlook at people's ethnicity. Okay, in other words, to me, a Chinese, that's just a Chinese. That's a Chinese man. A Chinese man. Now, the Chinese will be able to break down the different levels of Chinese you have in China, whatever the levels may be. In fact, to me, the Chinese and the Japanese and the North and South Korean, and sometimes even the Philippine people, they all pass as just Chinese. But to someone who is not a novice, someone who has an expert view, an understanding of these people here, they know not only the difference between the Japanese and the Chinese, but they can break down the Japanese from the north, the Japanese from the center, the Japanese from this land over here, this island, because Japan has several islands. The Japanese from that mountain, they talk different, they have a different slant in their eyes. These things do exist, and this set of Japanese are called such, and that set of Japanese are called such, and they have a mixture with the people from China. That's what's going on. But yet still people are labeled. And I'm saying all of that to come back to the point, because we can just close down shop and say, yeah, Ethiopia was once called Kush. But trust me, any real academic will come in and say that is not so. So Isaac now, or Isaac, the people of Isaac, are people that are known to be related to the Somalia people, which is a people by itself. It's one of the clan within the Somali group of clans. But you see, the thing is that, for example, just to look at this map with no disrespect, it's somewhat a bit injustice to where the Isaac people would really be. As you could see, they stopped them at the border of Djibouti. That is not so. A large amount of the people in Djibouti are Isaac people. A large amount of the people in Tigray are related to the Isaac people. You understand? In fact, some historians will tell you that the Somali people in general, not just Somaliland and the rest of Somalia, but the Somali people in general come from the Isaac people. Even go obviously into Oroma, which Oroma is really the Somali people as well in the Ethiopian domain. But then you look at the people from Somalia and you look at the people in Ethiopia, they look alike. Eh? But then, what is look-alike? And what is the people in Ethiopia when you have 80-something ethnic groups? Yes, so many? So many. But again, to your eyes, they all just look like Ethiopians. They all just, to you, maybe just look the same. But the reason why they look the same is because they have a strong similarity in their ethnicity. They're just trying to pretend that they're different. I want you to get me good. So the Tigrayan eh, is telling you that they're different than the Eritreans. So all of a sudden now the Eritreans are somebody else, totally. All of a sudden, seeking their own history. That's what I heard a professor say on a documentary. We're trying to catch up now with our history. Catch up with which history? Your history is an ancient history, Papa. Older than anyone else talking about you catching up because they got independence in 1990, whenever it was. So, again, just comprehend this that in general, those people are one people. That's the point I'm making. All of the different ethnicity, Amhara, the Afar, the Oroma, and the Somali in general, and the Isak people, and listen to how they sound. It's a oneness. That's why from outside, they all look the same to many of us because they're not looking into the similarity that runs through them. They are highlighting whatever differences they may have, whether it's I came from this side of the river and you came from that side of the mountain. And that's all. So you were this and I'm these people. We wear sheepskin, you wear cattle skin. We drink milk, you drink blood. We jump up and down, you lay down on the ground, and we're different. We don't wear earrings, you wear necklaces, and all of that kind of stuff. So, and that's our identity. We burn underneath our right eye, you burn underneath your left eye. Yeah. So all of these people that we are talking about are considered to be Kushitic people. And Kushitic people are a branch of Hamitic people. You follow me? Good. So at the same time, this is why even Semitic people, you got to be careful when people talking about people are anti-Semite. Now you see how they bombing up the Iranian people and not even the Iranians, the Palestinians. That's anti-Semitic. What is a Semite? A Semite is not an Israeli. The term Semite comes from Shem. Shem is the father of the Israelites, not the direct father, but he is the forefather of the Israelites. And if the history is correct, Shem is the father of the Arabs. Shem is the father of Abraham. Shem is the father of Ishmael. Shem is the father of Jacob. Shem is the father of Esau. So if Ishmael is the father of the Arab people, as we are taught in religion, that means the Arab people are Semites. And if you be bombing up the Arab people that hardly have a gun to fire back, you seem to be quite anti-Semitic to me. What do you say? That's how it looks. Yeah. Now you are Ashkenazi talking about people anti-Semitic, and you're Ashkenazi. You said so. No, that's what you were. You came there as an Ashkenazi Jew, which really don't make any sense because Ashkenaz is the son of Gomer. You're of Japhet. You're Japhetic, according to the scriptures. I'm talking about the Israeli people. Really? Well, that's what they say. Don't believe the hype. So the thing is now, what I'm showing you. So I hope you get the point, that we are a Cushitic people, ancient Kush. Hamitic, you see, to say we're Cushitic because we are Hamitic. You put a very strong religious, biblical attachment to it. And that's not necessarily so. Kush is not necessarily something out of the Bible. I want you to get this clear. The Bible speaks of Kush because Kush exists. The thing about Kush being the son or the grandson of Ham, and he went and he formed the land known as Ethiopia and all of that. That's strong biblical allegory. That's just the truth. That is strong biblical allegory. The term Kush, remember, even Saul was the son of Kish. Then in the Bible, it talks about Kush the Benjaminite. Kush is a strong term. There's some strong Kush ganja too. Historically, family, this is what we have. And I hope you're following me well. Those who have been following from the time we've been talking about Ethiopia, this is a real lesson here tonight. Ethiopia being, all of Africa and the Greeks and all of that. You may have to listen to this program again to really get the psychology of what I'm trying to say. I'm not just trying to make points. I'm trying to really get into a kind of psychological understanding of the subject area. So now you're looking at Egypt, you're looking at Sudan, you're looking at Ethiopia. So some people will argue that the Ethiopia in the Bible, listen to me good, the Ethiopia in the Bible is not Ethiopia today. No? Where is it? It's Sudan. Oh, how did that happen? The Ethiopia that you read of in the Bible is not the Ethiopia today. Yeah. Where is it? It's Sudan. Now, of course, remember you cannot judge the ancient world by these borders that are there today. And the ancient now Kush, because what you find in the Bible, in new versions, all of the Ethiopias are replaced by what? Kush. So when it says, and this river compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia, it now compasseth the whole land of Kush. When it says that, in Ethiopia, this man was born there, it now says in Kush, this man was born there. Even when it speaks of the Queen Candace, and of course in the book of Acts, when Philip baptized the Ethiopian official, in many Bibles he's now baptized in the Kushite official. Now there's no strong dispute from me. The point is that when you replace Ethiopia with Kush, you start to not only distort the real message, but you take people off track. Because there's a Psalm 87 that says, with Ethiopia, this man was born there. So when you're trying to tell me this man was born in Kush, and then somebody's going to come and say, well, Kush is really Nubia. What we really talking about now? So just through the translation, you get that strong energy of Ethiopia being Kush because they took Ethiopia and turned it to Kush in many Bibles. And those of us who are strong with the fact that Ethiopia was once Kush, man, it doesn't even bother us. But again, if you know your history well, it should be bothersome because these people that change Ethiopia to Kush, they have their agenda. They're trying to distract you from Haile Selassie the First. All right. Now, historically, the area of Kush really would have encompassed most of modern-day Sudan, north and south. And there were specific kingdoms within the Kushite Empire. Please follow me. That stood out in history. You have the kingdom of Kerma. You have the kingdom of Napata. You have the kingdom of Meroe. Even from the time of Tarseti and these kingdoms, these were all seen in the ancient and extremely strong empire known as the Kushitic, pardon me, empire, the empire of Kush. Now, even when the brothers from Kush went northwards and they would have taken over ancient Kemet, this is the 25th dynasty of ancient Kemet. All of that region was now considered the Kushitic Empire. Why? Because the brothers from the south, we're talking about Tahaka and these ones, these brothers would have come to the north to destroy the Assyrians who were invading Africa, and they would have taken over the authority, the governance of ancient Kemet for some time, And again, that was known as the 25th dynastic period of Kemet. People, historians with their propaganda, try to make it look like that's the Black dynasty of ancient Kemet, like the rest were white. You comprehend? So get this good, eh? So it is the people from Nubia. From where? Nubia. But it wasn't really Nubia then. Yeah. It was Meroe, the ancient Napata. You understand? All a part of the Kushite Empire. Now, this empire was not necessarily situated in Ethiopia, as you know Ethiopia today. Abyssinia. Remember, for those who may be even just joining this, we began by taking our time. We didn't just want to talk like we have a time to just gaff. We wanted you to comprehend, from all angles, the name change, the value of the name, who gave it this name. Even Haile Selassie himself, it was a conscious decision to utilize the name in this time when the emperor was in his infancy. It was Abyssinia. It wasn't necessarily Ethiopia, but he claimed that name as well. But there's a lot of history to the name. You get me? And let me say here before we go too far, I am not in agreement with that. In agreement that the Ethiopia in the Bible is not Ethiopia today. No. In the same way that the Ethiopia would have expanded at different spots, just like Kush. Although Kush is Nubia, the Kushite kingdom, pardon me, the Kushite kingdom is more so in Nubia. Even within that space, which is Sudan, it would have grown and shrunk and grown and shrunk. And remember, the capital of the Kushitic kingdom would have moved from time to time, Kerma and Napata and Meroe. But as we know it, as historians, what we understand as the Kushitic kingdom was not necessarily inside of Abyssinia, which is Ethiopia as you know it today. Now, that doesn't dismiss that the Ethiopian people are Kushitic people. As I would have explained, that's why I took the time to even highlight the Isak people or the Isaac people to show that even though we would label these people like how we label the Tigrayan people and we label, do you know, even within the Tigrayan people, they have some different ethnic groups. This is something else. But to those of us who looking from outside, they all look alike because there's a similarity that we detect that they overlook and pretend they don't see because they want to be different from each other. For them alone, the man in the mirror is of another tribe too. Yeah, when I rise my right hand, he rises his left. So he's from the next tribe, and that's how they do the stuff. When we are all one people. From them time, much more now, we did just start to mix. So why this is an important point is because in the ancient time, we're very romantic about Africa, you know. But in the ancient time, the Axumite kingdom, the Axumite kingdom not only was not seen as a Kushitic kingdom, but the Axumite kingdom made it its duty to be seen separate from the kingdom of Kush. In fact, it's the kingdom of Axum that is credited for bringing an end to the kingdom of Kush. So it's important for us to understand this. So how is this possible? If it is, let me read this to you. This is taken from ebsco.com, and it is an article highlighting Axum. I'm not going to read you all of that. I'm just going to go straight to the point where it says, by the 3rd century under King Azana. Now, most of us know of King Azana or Izana, the king from 330 to 350 um, uh, Common Era. And King Izana is credited, of course, as you know, bringing um, you know, bringing, what do you call it, Christianity to Ethiopia. Now, I'm showing you that when Axum brought an end to Meroe, history says that Axum brought an end to the kingdom of Kush. The kingdom of Axum is seen as separate than the kingdom of Kush. I'm trying to show you the kingdom of Kush has its own boundaries and everything. Now, once more, the Kushitic civilization, which obviously would include the Axumite people and all the other surrounding people as well. They were a Kushitic people, that's for sure. They were definitely, as I said, the Isak people. They're all one with all these different tribes. But the kingdom, the border of the kingdom, was not only such difference than from Ethiopia as we know it, but Ethiopia as we know it, Axum, which also went into Arabia, by the way, Axum is credited for bringing an end to the kingdom of Kush. Now, you may say, well, this is just maybe the way that history says it. I get you, but you got to keep in mind that the kingdom of Axum never styled themselves to be the same as the kingdom of Kush. This is my point, you know. So if you may think that, listen, it's just semantics. No, I think it's a bit more than that because the term Kush is a very strong term. I don't think we are applying that term today. I believe that's the term of the day. The Kushite kingdom and the Axumite kingdom or the kingdom of Axum were different, and they went to war, and Izana came in and locked down Meroe and brought that empire to an end, although he may be of Kushitic nation. So it's deep, it's just deep thinking. You know, I know it may be a bit heavy for some. Like, wow, that's a lot. That's plenty. Well, it's all right. These sort of classes are for those who really want to learn and understand, especially from a psychological point of view. Everything is not just the book and pen and facts and dates. You got to have a different um, way of looking at things, so you don't just get caught in the trap of just repeating things that you hear people say. Or there was no J in the alphabet. So no Jesus could ever exist. I mean, that's a weak argument. And we need to study, we need to read. That's why we do magazines, so we can encourage the whole science of reading and keep the mind, active, instead of just sitting and listening to a documentary or even just listening to myself, but going and doing the research for your own self and bringing a better understanding to it. So that's it, my royal family. I don't want to break no one's heart. If you see Ethiopia, is ancient Kush, as I said, let me be clear. It is not something I deny. I took my time to clearly show you that even from a biblical perspective, yes, the ancient where they said Kush, where the man was born, that is Ethiopia, for sure. But again, historically, outside of the strong allegory of the Bible, historically, not only was the demarcation of the kingdom of Cush different than what we know as Ethiopia today, but even Ethiopia today, the Axumite kingdom, is credited to bring the kingdom of Cush to an end. So you must at least have that in your understanding. That's my point. At least have that in your comprehension if you're a serious scholar and you're going to have some sort of reasoning debate or some sort of discussion with anyone else that is well researched in their field. That's how we do it here on the Tigers Nest family. I am still encouraging everyone, those of you who will be coming with us to Ethiopia, and again, not even coming with us, but you will be with us in Ethiopia for the African Union / CARICOM Summit. I must repeat again that the time is now. You understand, as you know, it's almost time. It's almost September, so we need to get everything in order. We need to know those who are with us, and all ducks in a row, as they say. But we don't say that. People put ducks in a row when you want to shoot them. We ain't shooting no ducks here. All the ducks in the pond, and make sure everyone is up to speed. So once that is how you're going to add to the mission, because everyone should be contributing to this mission. I don't know if they told you, but everyone here, everyone in our tribe, we have a tribe too. This is our tribe here, the Tiger's Nest tribe. Yeah, this is our tribe, the Mystic Vibration tribe. Yeah, this is our ethnic group here. The Isaac people, the Isaac people, the priest Isaac people, and everyone. We're looking for everyone because you love the mission, because you understand the importance. Because even if you don't fully get the mission to Ethiopia, you know your brother. You know what we do. You've been checking this out for some time. So this is why we would have created means and ways for every single person to contribute to this mission. And of course, the vast majority of ways you will be given the value for your contribution. So again, remember first of all, you could be with us in Ethiopia. Let me get that out of the way. First of all, you could be with us in Ethiopia for the AU CARICOM Summit. And keep in mind that we will be doing the Addis Ababa tour. In fact, that's what you're coming for. The Addis Ababa tour. They will be those who will be coming with us for the national tour, which is an extended tour throughout Ethiopia. The Honorable Empress would have given you a good idea about that a few programs ago. Axum, we're going to see the same Axum, the Simeon Mountains and so forth. Of course, Lalibela, what a joyous time this will be. Remember, our mission is a fact-finding mission. We are on a research mission. We are on a diplomatic mission as well. So you will be traveling to us and you will be also leaving us there as well. So at the same time, we are looking forward to everyone. Let me be clear here that desires to be with us in Ethiopia. You need to contact us like pronto. Very, very important. Then now, for those who would be advertising in the magazine, well, to be honest, everything is pronto now, because the time is at hand. Especially those of you who want to get into the magazine Kidemi, now is the time. Keep in mind that we will be launching Kidemi in Ethiopia and in other places that we will be going. So make sure that you are on board. And then remember that we also have the different levels of sponsorship from the full budget, which is $118,000. That's the budget. That's the budget, yo. That's the budget. That's the budget. That is what things cost. In fact, we revised the budget, It's a bit more than that. But we put that out into the audience for so long now, such time since we've been putting that out. So 118,000 remains the budget on the even the revised version of this proposal. So those who would desire to even full sponsorship sponsor the budget itself, of course, that we have again a whole package created for you. I don't know if one's understand the package. Almost every package within the sponsorship card has us creating a digital magazine for you. So if you own a guest house, a resort, or whatever, when you contribute, when you pick one of these packages, you literally will get a digital magazine. You like to see our magazines? We can create one for you. And that's just one of the blessings you get when you contribute or take one of the sponsorships, specifically gold, platinum, silver, etc. I don't think you get the magazine with the silver though, sponsorship. But of course, depending on the sponsorship that you take, you get your business cards, your brochures, all of these things will be seen when we lecture, when we travel. We'll be giving out your paraphernalia, your mugs, your bags, these things, and all of that comes with the sponsorship, depending on the level of sponsorship that you take. And again, if all of that is just too much for you, you can just advertise in the magazine. That's why I am saying to you, there's something for everyone. Let me show you what I mean. If all of this is just too much, you can simply donate. That's it. So what you want to donate, you can donate 100,000. You can donate 100. Yeah, you see how simple it is. Yeah, and that's it. You don't need no space in the magazine. You don't need to come on the Lalibela tour. You don't need your business to go up in fireworks and the world will see it and we'll speak about you when we lecture and when we go on the radio programs and the TV programs and we'll show the world that you're with us as well. You don't need none of that. You just want to contribute because we know that what you're doing is good for the rest of us. All right, no problem. So we would have made sure that everyone listening that really appreciates loves what we are doing has some means and ways of adding to this mission. So they don't have to worry. They know for sure. Yeah, we were a part, or we are a part of what is taking place right now. So, family, we give thanks. Give thanks to each and everyone who would have taken the time to sup with us in this somewhat extended Tiger's Nest meditation. And of course, we give thanks to those who would have joined us throughout the evening on the social media. And those of you who are with us, we're just asking you to show some love to the video, press the like button, and of course, even share and subscribe to the channel, and make sure that you continue to be with us and stay with us for more information. And remember your notification, put on the notification bell, put on a notification bell so that when we come, you definitely know that we are here. Royal family, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, yeah, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. And remember to request your proposal so you can read it for yourself. Email us and say, I would like to take a look at the proposal, so you can look at it for yourself. Yes, family, give thanks for your presence. Hey, remember, take some real eyes to realize the real lies that are amongst us. Glorify life, giver and the keeper of life. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari, blessed love.